May is Military Appreciation Month here in the States, so we wanted to make a brand new Tier 8 American hero tank. This time we did things differently. We made the Vengeance T25. It's all in black, looks awesome, it looks like a lethal predator. It has a really cool red, white, and blue eagle icon on the front of the tank, and on the back it's got a real foreboding looking skull. It looks absolutely amazing. The tank has an excellent rate of fire. It's got good aim time. It has excellent gun depression and good turret armor. So everything you need to get hull down, deliver damage on the enemy, and minimize how much damage you take in return. It's just an all-around good medium tank. You can pick up your Vengeance T25 starting May 2nd.
There are few places on Earth as beautiful as Malinovka. Its wide open fields, woods, hills, and lakes are stark contrast to the wars waged here every day. Animals snipe, flank, and brawl on these wetlands in an epic struggle to survive. It may not look like it, but these lands are among the most hostile on planet Tank. Yet, a few special animals manage to thrive here. The duck. Seldom seen on the battlefield, details of their lives were a complete mystery. Thanks to advances in technology, we are able to closely follow their habits for the first time. Here, if you listen closely, these ducks will tell you exactly what they're doing. Migrating to the southern cap. The cap is almost always defended. Look closely enough and you will find predators lying in wait. The bulldog. A duck is separated from the flock. It cries for help. But it's too late. Weak on their own, these ducks don't stand a chance against a pack of dogs. The bulldogs, still hungry, close in again. And then, salvation. Here come the rest of the flock. Thanks to the numbers, the ducks survive. As they say, birds of a feather roll together. Next time on Planet Tank, the field mouse.
Update 9.18, one of the largest updates in the history of World of Tanks, is coming. An improved matchmaker, Tier 10 light tanks, new sight and other features for artillery vehicles, reusable consumables, and more. Watch this episode for more information. Update 9.18 will feature 9 new light tanks, which will make it possible to upgrade the light tank branch to Tier 10. The majority of top-tier vehicles will be relocated from Tier 8 to Tier 9, but without camouflages and emblems. Players will get compensation for them in gold. Unique camos will remain available, and players will be able to apply them to any vehicle. Changes in tank tiers won't have any effect on tank modules and crews. All modules researched on Tier 8 vehicles will be available for use. All crews will be retrained for operating Tier 9 tanks. But let's get back to top-tier vehicles. The Chinese WZ-132-1. Its main advantages are a robust turret, perfect armor penetration ability, and good one-shot damage. However, it can't match the alpha damage delivered by the US tank. The Sheridan is able to inflict over 1,000 points in one shot. This is a true gift for those who are fond of the T-49. The new tank has the same gun, but with better characteristics. But if you think that the howitzer isn't your kind of gun, you can always use the more accurate 105mm gun. Thanks to this gun, your tank will boast the best damage per minute, elevation and depression angles, and view range among same-tier vehicles. The German Rheinmetall Panzerwagen also provides a perfect view range, but its main advantages are fast aiming, high fire accuracy, and superb dynamics. The Soviet T-100LT is also perfectly maneuverable. Its power-to-weight ratio is almost 50 HP per ton. It resembles the good old T-52. It can boast the same maneuverability, stealth, and high rate of fire. In addition, thanks to the low hull and good armor, players' mistakes won't lead them to the garage immediately. The armor of the French AMX 13105 is not so good. Its main advantage is a 3-shell autoloader. This tank is as furious as a hurricane. It rushes in to attack, delivers damage to anyone dumb enough to cross it, and swiftly retreats, leaving stunned opponents far behind. The new tanks also influenced the characteristics of existing vehicles. Many of them got better dynamics, rate of fire, and armor penetration ability. The French AMX 1390 is now equipped with a 4-shell autoloader. Its gun parameters have been significantly improved. Aiming and penetrating armor have become much easier. Following the players' requests, the transition from the LTTB to the T-54 in the Soviet tree remained unchanged until the next update. We didn't change the gun of the ELC AMX tank, the autoloader of the M41 Walker Bulldog, or the howitzer of the T-49. Playing these tanks is still fun. Read more about the changes on the portal. Each of us has been a member of a team way worse than the enemy's. The chances of winning under such circumstances are not equal. Our players asked us to improve the matchmaker a while ago. With Tier 10 light tanks, we can satisfy their request. We are pleased to introduce a new and more sophisticated matchmaker. Now, teams are formed by specific patterns. Opposing teams get well-balanced vehicles. The majority of battles will be 3-tier battles. However, there are 3 conditions: no more than 3 top-tier vehicles, no more than 5 mid-tier vehicles, but no fewer than that of top-tier vehicles, no fewer than 7 lower-tier vehicles. This will guarantee that you find your target. And if you find yourself at the bottom of the list several times in a row, the matchmaker will try to put you in the middle or top section of the list. It will try even if you change your vehicle, server, or if you re-enter the game. Sometimes, the queue will contain too many vehicles of a certain tier. In this case, players will enter a 1-tier or 2-tier battle. The matchmaker will create the lineup with 5 top-tier vehicles and 10 lower-tier vehicles. In addition to these rules, teams will be additionally balanced in terms of vehicle types. The new algorithm will consider the number of scouts, arties, and tank destroyers. The difference in these vehicle types will not be more than 1 vehicle. After players' numerous requests, the maximum number of artillery vehicles on a team will be reduced from 5 to 3. Additionally, new rules for creating platoons will be implemented. Previously, a platoon of skillful artillerymen could easily hinder the game of any opponent. The overwhelming majority of players worldwide were unhappy with that fact. Therefore, we decided to block the option for recruiting artillery to a platoon. Considering this, we made changes to the conditions for completing personal missions for SPGs. Another critical solution for platoons was to allow only same-tier vehicles. Often, the whole team would suffer defeat because of 2 or 3 lame ducks. It's time to put an end to this injustice. First, we thought about forming platoons from vehicles of neighboring tiers, but then we had to reject this idea. According to our testing, such platoons would impair the balance even more. The map selection mechanism has also been improved. Many players complained that they had to play on the same maps repeatedly during a single play session. Now, the matchmaker will remember the maps you played on to avoid their frequent selection in the future. Please note that maps like Himmelsdorf and Winter Himmelsdorf will be considered as one map. Playing the Assault, Encounter Battle, and Standard Battle modes will also be considered as one map. You can leave your feedback about the new matchmaker in a corresponding forum topic. For a while now, thousands of players have been complaining about getting one-shotted by arties. The degree of discontent about artillery was growing, and the developers couldn't ignore it. After many months of intense work and testing, we are pleased to introduce new artillery. Artillery vehicles are now equipped only with HE shells. Their damage delivery and armor penetration abilities have been downgraded. Now, sending an opponent to the garage with a single shot is unlikely. However, we improved their accuracy, aiming, and reload time. Higher-tier vehicles have a larger burst radius. It's more interesting to shoot at a group of enemy vehicles rather than a single target. In addition to the improved characteristics, artillery now has a new feature, the ability to stun enemies. Enemy vehicles in the splash area get stunned for a period of time. Their view range, maneuverability, accuracy, and reload times are adversely affected. It drastically changes the role of artillery in battle. The splash damage and stunning effect allow players to hold back enemy attacks on an entire flank. Artillery can now provide highly effective support to the team. It's more useful to play for the team, not for yourself. The stunning period depends on many factors. The duration of the stunning effect is indicated by a specific marker over the vehicle. Another marker can be used by an artillery player to show their teammates where they are aiming. It will allow the latter to better focus on targets and timely leave the fire area. Another feature for artillery vehicles is an alternative aiming sight. The trajectory sight option will allow players to better aim at hard-to-reach areas. Players will be able to change between sights at their own discretion, even while aiming. If you have received splash damage, you can use a first aid kit. Now, it can cure not only crew injuries, but the stun effect as well. Moreover, first aid kits, repair kits, and fire extinguishers are now reusable. 90 seconds after their use, the consumables may be reused again, and there's no extra cost. To protect vehicles from artillery, a spall liner can be used. It also reduces the stun duration by 10%. Many changes are pretty daring, but we are prepared to take risks to make the game more interesting. Major changes in the game did not affect the release of HD vehicles. This time, we designed 26 vehicles, 10 of them for the Soviet nation. Players will find the much-loved BT-2, lighter T-54, and improved Object 261. The small Japanese Otsu, the big US T-92, and many others received a better design. And that's not all that Update 9.18 will bring. We only mentioned the most significant stuff here. Thank you for helping with the development of our project. Together, we make the game better. A new member has joined the League of World of Tanks nations. Swedish vehicles will soon join the game. Their specifications haven't been finalized yet, so we still don't know the precise armor thickness or speed. But the most important thing is already clear: their character. Let's take a look at them. The Swedish tech tree starts with a tank that has a rich history, the STRV FM21. Designed by German engineer Fulma, the tank was disguised as tractor parts when delivered to Sweden. In other words, it's all about intrigue and mystery. If you want to find out more, watch a special video about it. In our game, the STRV FM21 is a classic Tier 1 light tank. The only peculiar thing about it is its size. Large dimensions are compensated for by its hit points, but there's no need to go into detail, as you won't play the tank for very long. The first vehicle is followed by the STRV M38 and STRV M40L. These are decent tanks for their tier, without any visible drawbacks or outstanding strengths. Good, sturdy combat vehicles, and they already reveal some features of Swedish tanks: light armor, small dimensions, and excellent elevation and depression angles. The Tier 4 Lago tank is in line with this, a versatile vehicle, good for any task. A nice improvement is its slightly better dynamics as compared to its predecessors. At Tier 5, the speed of research in the game slows down, and players have time to feel what their tank is like. There are many interesting vehicles of different nations at this tier. Some are preserved in the garage forever. The Swedish STRV M42 has every chance of becoming a mainstay. Its mobility, speed, and firepower are ordinary. What make it extraordinary are the elevation and depression angles. With 15 degrees of gun depression, the tank can fire while hiding almost its entire hull behind the terrain. All in all, the STRV M42 is on a par with the best medium tanks at its tier. At Tier 6, players will face a challenge. they will have to rethink the tactics they are used to when playing the M42. The STRV-74 cannot boast good dynamics and armor. You could put up with this, if not for the size. It is too big for a medium tank. You hit, you penetrate. That's the kind of vehicle it is. As compensation for all these troubles, the tank received one of the most convenient guns in its tier. The gun features top-notch penetration capability and accuracy. It is convenient for firing at long range, and depression angle is also 15 degrees. This helps you hide this tall tank in terrain. In terms of gameplay, the STRV-74 resembles a tank destroyer. The next vehicle, Leo, will bring new challenges. It is the direct opposite of the STRV-74. Being comparatively small, it is a fast and maneuverable Tier 7 medium tank. The vehicle resembles a light tank, so even its thin armor doesn't look like a drawback. The gun causes mixed feelings. It has problems with accuracy, aiming, and stabilization. But the AP shell damage is great, 300 HP. Tier 8 is where medium tanks are replaced with the era of heavies in the Swedish tech tree. The top vehicles have similar character, so you can gradually refine your skill and reach perfection. In different periods, Swedish tank designers drew inspiration from different sources, first from the Germans, then from the Czechs. There was a period when they were keen on French ideas, like that of the oscillating turret, and this is apparent in the Tier 8, 9, and 10 tanks. Emil 1, the Tier 8 tank. It's like the AMX 5100. Both have a drum-type autoloader. From the French tank, the Emil 1 differs only in thick and well-sloped front armor. The armor is good enough to absorb damage from lower-tier vehicles and most tanks of the same tier, a forgotten feeling for fans of autoloaders. From its Swedish predecessors, Emil inherited a high depression angle, 12 degrees. This allows it to harass enemies from behind the top of a hill. The AMX is faster, both in how it moves and maneuvers, and in how it fires and reloads. The French tank has higher potential damage per drum, coupled with higher penetration capability. In general, the Emil 1 will deal less damage, but you'll feel safer in it. Due to its better armor, you can take your time firing all the shells in the drum and feel safer. At Tier 9 of the Swedish tank branch, you will find the Emil 2. When comparing it to the AMX 5120, you'll see a similar situation. The Scandinavian tank is ahead in terms of armor, elevation, and depression angles and size. It's a little smaller. The AMX has better armor penetration and dynamics. Meet the Tier 10 Kranvagen heavy tank. It has inherited all the strengths and weaknesses of the Emil vehicles. The tank features thin side armor and a tight layout, so its modules can be easily damaged. The gun's penetration capability is not very high. There must be something to compensate for drawbacks like this. The Kranvagen's key strength is a combination of a well-armored turret and superb gun depression angles. And this determines your playstyle. Hide your hull and empty the drum. Your armor is good enough to do this without too much haste. If necessary, you can always change position. The vehicle has sufficient mobility to do so. In general, Swedish tanks have several common traits. For example, most of them feature thin armor and small dimensions. But the key feature for the branch is the superb gun depression angles. If you like to make use of the terrain, this is probably the branch for you. That's all for now. Good luck on the battlefield.
Someone is a true-born racer. Someone is a gifted sniper. Someone soaks up damage like Chuck Norris. And someone is just a winner in life. But you don't need to be that cool to play tanks well. It's enough to understand the game mechanics, know how they work, and use this knowledge in battle. I'll talk about the mechanics, and the rest is up to you. The visibility system. A keystone. The giant turtle that holds up the Earth. You may not believe it. You may be surprised by it. You may argue about it. But whether you like it or not, it works. and smart tankers have used its features for their benefit for a long time. Roughly speaking, the visibility system in World of Tanks can be divided into two, though inseparable components: concealment and view range. Today, we'll talk about view range. A little bit of theory to begin. Our confidential informant will tell you about it.
Every tank in the game has 7 visibility checkpoints and 2 view range ports. The latter are needed to spot enemy vehicles. These ports emit virtual vision rays. If these rays cross the visibility checkpoints on the enemy vehicles, then an enemy is spotted. To understand the location of these points better, imagine your favorite vehicle. And now we'll cover it with a box. Turret location, gun length, machine guns, and antennas don't affect the box size. Only the overall size of the vehicle's physics model is taken into account. So, there's a checkpoint right at the center of the box roof. 2 more checkpoints are located at the front and at the back of the vehicle. Another 2 are at the sides. So, that's 5. The 6th point is on the gun mantlet, and it's aligned with the 7th. As soon as the turret position changes, one of these points moves together with the mantlet, and the other stays in place. The upper checkpoint and the point on the gun mantlet also function as view range ports.
Hey! Easy! Theory's good, but how do you use it in the battle? Let's see some specific examples. You're standing behind cover. Allies are behind you. The enemy is ahead. Some are asking you to light them up. Others are waiting for free damage. In a situation like this, don't try to spot the enemy this way. You're exposing your checkpoint, but your viewports are still behind cover. You've got yourself spotted, but haven't spotted the enemy. And you've also taken a lot of damage. This is how you should do it. Turn your turret and carefully try to spot the enemy with your viewport on the gun mantlet. Your allies fire off. You save your HP and receive a bonus for spotting. Everybody's happy. And another example. You don't need to rush in and spot the enemy first. It's pretty risky. Sure, you'll see them, but you won't last long. To be a good scout and keep yourself safe, you can stay on your side of the hill. You just need to roll up the hill and point your turret in the right direction. The view range port in the gun base will give you all the information, and you almost don't risk anything. Let's move forward. 2 scouts are hiding in the bushes. The first is spotting and the other is being spotted. But not for long. That's because it didn't hide its checkpoint. The first tank exposes its gun, machine gun, antenna, and even the corners of the hull itself. But it doesn't matter. What matters is that all checkpoints are covered. It provides good spotting and is still intact. See? That's what knowing the game mechanics can do.
By the way, about the mechanics. Vision rays are not endless. The maximum view or spotting range is 445 meters, and the maximum draw distance is 565 meters. You need to understand the difference between these terms. View range is the maximum distance at which you can spot the enemy, and the draw distance is the maximum distance at which you can see the vehicles in general. Both Allied vehicles and enemy vehicles spotted by your team. Depending on the distance between vehicles, the vision rays have different frequencies. The highest frequency is at a distance of 120 meters. The greater the distance between vehicles is, the lower the frequency of rays will be.
And now, let's get some practice in. There are 3 circles on your minimap. The big circle shows the draw area. The middle circle shows the maximum view range area, and the small circle shows the current view range of your vehicle. these are not just circles. These are important game tools, and you need to use them. Every time you shoot at the enemy within the maximum view range circle, you risk being spotted, with all enraging consequences. To shoot with impunity, roll back out of the maximum view range circle. The enemy won't be able to spot you even theoretically, but you can do some damage and save your HP. But that's not all. If the enemy vehicle is so far away that you can only see it on the minimap, it doesn't mean you're out of play. You can guesstimate the direction of fire on the minimap. To do so, use the pointer. When the sector's defined, you look through your sight at the most probable enemy location. Fire! And bingo! Isn't that beautiful? Of course, you won't land a hit with every shot. But I love tanks for the moments like this one. Also remember one simple thing. No tank in the game has a maxed out view range to begin with. To be a really cool scout, you need to upgrade your ride. This is down to you alone. You choose for yourself what to equip your vehicle with and how to train your crew. Don't screw it up.
Documentation shows the initial vehicle characteristics, assuming that it's manned with a 100% trained crew without any additional skills and perks, and there's no equipment or consumables on the vehicle. To improve your view range fully, you first need to equip your vehicle with coated optics or binocular telescope. In some cases, you can mount both, but keep in mind, bonuses from these pieces of equipment are not totaled. When stationary, you get an additional 25% to your view range, in motion 10%. Secondly, you need to train your crew, especially your commander. Every additional 1% of the commander's major qualification improves the vehicle view range by 0.43%. To enhance the main qualification, you need to equip your vehicle with ventilation, the national food or drink consumable, and train your crew with the Brothers in Arms perk. Also, it would be good to train the commander with the recon skill and the radio operator with the situational awareness skill. And don't forget about Sixth Sense. This is one of your main allies in the battle. If the enemy spots your vehicle, you'll receive the alert about it in 3 seconds. Ignoring it will make your trip to the garage arrive sooner.
This is all well and good, but sometimes 3 seconds is too long. And you also have your brain, not just the light bulb. So use it. If you feel you might have been spotted, don't wait for the light bulb. Roll back to a safe place beforehand. Your crew won't exactly say thank you, but their gratitude will certainly show itself later on. Remember that if your commander is injured, their sixth sense won't work, and your vision range drops by half. In this case, any enemy will out-scout you, so don't even try to spot them. The result is pretty obvious. When the tank's equipped with all the necessary equipment and consumables, when the crew is trained, the numbers say that the vehicle view range can exceed 500 meters. But the maximum view range in the game is 445. So why do you need all those skills, equipment, and consumables? It seems that you can just raise it to the maximum and stop. But things aren't that simple. Let's do a small experiment. Let's take 2 scouts. Identical at first glance, but the view range on the first one is 445 meters, and the second scout has a view range of 507. There are several enemy vehicles behind the hill. The first scout rolls out and shows us 4 tanks. Well, not bad. Now let's see how many vehicles the second scout will spot. Wow, it's amazing! It lit them up like a Christmas tree. 10 vehicles! And it's not a bug or an accident. That's the tank's improved view range. Every extra meter of the view range is very useful. It sees straight through the enemy's camouflage. To reinforce its importance, let's do another experiment. Let's take the same scouts and put them on the airfield map. The crew isn't trained with camouflage, and there's no camo on the tank either. So neither have any advantage in concealment. Everything depends purely on their view range. Now, let the tanks move towards each other and we'll see what distance they get each other in their sights. The RU-251 with a view range of 507 meters spots the enemy at 427 meters. And its opponent hasn't seen anyone yet. And only now, after the precious seconds are gone, it's finally spotted. The rangefinder shows 375 meters. But why is that? Shouldn't it be 445?
That's because every vehicle in the game also has concealment parameters, not just a view range. The vehicle's concealment is affected by the vehicle type, size, and presence of special equipment and consumables. Vehicle concealment gets worse when firing and on the move.
But we'll tell you about that in the next episode. And that's all for today. Use these mechanics and win more.